Hello and welcome to All Important Words, the podcast that helps learners of English master the academic word list. This is Bek
and Jim, and we've got another useful and interesting academic word to share with you today. Bek, what's our word?
I really don't know how to approach today's word.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, it has two forms, verb and noun.
Then how about just approaching it from the most academic point of view?
Well, today's word is actually approach. Approach. A-P-P-R-O-A-C-H. It's pronounced the same way in both British and North American English.
But you haven't told us yet what form we're going to cover on today's show. Approach as a noun or as a verb?
As our listeners might have already guessed, we introduced the words from the academic word list. The word approach is in the academic word list. Since approach is used both as a noun and a verb in academic texts, we will introduce both forms of the word.
I think that's a good idea.
One more thing, approach has several different meanings, but in today's show, we will introduce the one meaning which is frequently used in academic writing and speaking. So podcast listeners, today's word is approach, and as a verb, approach means to begin to deal with a situation or problem in a particular way or with a particular attitude.
Could you give us some examples?
Sure, here they are. Number one, you can approach the problem two ways.
In other words, it might be possible to deal with the problem in two different ways.
Yes, you are right. Number two, these students often try to approach the subject matter in a critical manner by asking questions about it and by forming their own interpretations.
Those are good examples, Beck. In both, I noticed some noun collocations after approach.
Yes. Could you tell us what are some of the common noun collocations that are used with approach?
My pleasure. We often say approach a problem, approach an issue, approach a question, approach a subject, approach a task, and approach a topic.
Thanks, Jim. And at this point, we can also approach today's word from a noun viewpoint. In other words, let's introduce the noun meaning of the word approach.
Sounds good.
Okay, approach as a noun means a method of doing something or dealing with a problem.
And here are a few more examples. Number 3, the article suggests a new approach to the problem. Number 4, doctors generally take a holistic approach to the condition.
I noticed a couple of useful verb plus approach collocations in your sentences.
Indeed. I'm sure the listeners would appreciate a few more. Would you do the honors?
Sure. So, podcast listeners, here are some verb collocations for approach. Propose an approach, suggest an approach, take an approach, develop an approach, agree with an approach, employ an approach, explore an approach, pursue an approach, adopt an approach.
Beck, there's a helpful bit of usage information we could point out here for the listeners. If you've noticed in some of these examples, the word approach in its noun form was used with the preposition to, a new approach to the problem, and a holistic approach to the condition.
Oh, right. That is useful. Can I give you two more examples to illustrate the use of approach with the preposition to?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, here are examples. Number 5. Some doctors are trying a radical new approach to cancer treatment. Number 6. He decided to adopt a different approach to teaching the Bible through storytelling.
Excellent. I also noticed a couple of good adjective collocations for approach. Here are a few more. A new approach, a different approach, a radical approach, a constructive approach, a flexible approach, a traditional approach, a structured approach, and a systematic approach.
Because of your adjective collocations, I decided to use one more word illustrating the use of adjectives with the word approach.
What is that?
Here it is. Jim and Beck decided to take an innovative new approach to teaching academic words via a podcast.
That's terrific. And we should add that we hope our all-important words listeners like this approach.
We hope so. Okay, everybody, that's your academic word list word for the day. Remember, you can find the transcript for this episode and previous episodes at our website, allimportantwords.com. While you are there, check out our link to the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English, which is where we got the definitions used in today's show.
And if you'd like to ask a question or suggest a word for us to cover in an upcoming episode, email us at allimportantwords@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/allimportantwords. And remember, you can show your support for the show by pressing the like button and sharing our podcast with your other Facebook friends.
We'd appreciate it if you did.
Until our next word, bye-bye.
Bye.